Hello, Dirtfish friends, and welcome to our end of day one coverage of the Safari Rally in Kenya. Now, you might be able to tell, David, it's not quite Kenya, but there's plenty of rally action going on here.
Plenty of rally action, probably as dusty as Kenya.
It is.
You've not done a very good job of cleaning this table.
I tried earlier on. I'm just going to sign my name in the dust. Folks, we're at the Goodwood Festival of Speed and we're on the rally stage here, so there's been plenty of rally fever for us to enjoy in between, keeping a very close eye, David, on the action in Kenya. Where do we start? You know, it was, I think, anticipated that it was going to be a tough day out there today. I think all the teams anticipated, particularly, David, after the recce. The drivers realised, oh, this is going to be a proper challenge. And it certainly was out there today.
So where's the surprise, Colin? Safari, it throws up surprises. It is a challenge, it is tough, it's what it is. It does what it says on the tin, doesn't it?
It does, but do you know what? Today, from the recce that I was very fortunate to do out there, today was perhaps the easier of the 3 days. You know, we had two relatively innocuous stages on the face of it, and then we had the one long Gadong stage, which was always going to be challenging out there. But David, we saw drama really from the outset. Let's start. We're going to talk about all three teams for you, but let's start with Hyundai, because that's where we really saw the drama kicking off in that opening stage with Oitanak. You know, Julian Monse, the deputy team principal, still deputy principal, did okay with that. It's only taken me 4 or 5 rallies to work that out. He said we're not doing good enough. Reliability is our Achilles heel. We didn't have to wait long to see reliability issues.
Absolutely not. And quite a freak one with the gear shift for Tanak. You know, can you imagine the surprise as he banged it down or up a gear for the whole handle, the whole lever to come off? There is a huge amount of stress in that lever, isn't there? You know, they're pretty forceful when they're changing the gear. We don't know exactly where it's broken, but absolute credit to Oitanak to find a way of still changing gear. You know, it didn't look particularly comfortable. He'd probably have to loosen the belts a bit to get down there, and you know, any kind of a distraction in the car is difficult to deal with. So for him to continue at the speed that he did was brilliant. And
he kept himself very much in the fight, David.
He did, absolutely, and actually was in a remarkably good mood when he spoke to George at the end of today.
Altogether, the day has not been so tough because the 2 stages out of 3, you know, they are quite nice road and in a good shape, so it was actually quite enjoyable just to drive. But the last stage, for sure, the first part, first 20 K is actually quite rocky, rough surface, so it was really difficult to avoid all the sharp stones to keep the tires going, and then yeah, the last part in the fish, you know, it's I guess we are more diving under the sand than staying on top of it, so it was quite some job.
Yeah, you know, great to see Oitanak in a really positive frame of mind after a challenging day, David. But the man who really wasn't in the most positive frame of mind was Thierry Neuville. He had all sorts of issues out there again.
I just, you know, he came here wanting seeking redemption. You know, this was his rally, wasn't it, last year?
Yeah.
Leading by a minute or something going into the last day. He wanted to put that to bed and to win the event. And it just went wrong almost immediately with a gearbox issue. And yeah, just a really difficult day. Ended the day with a puncture. You've got to wonder, where does it turn? Where does Thierry turn the page? You know, he's had so much misfortune this year. Still second in the championship coming in. I suspect that's not going to be the case when he leaves here. But you know, if we're allowed to say, he keeps buggering on, doesn't he, Colin?
David, there are two very different approaches from Tanak and from Neuville.
Yeah.
You know, yes. Tanak has said he has been looking after his car today. He has given himself. He's been relatively gentle on the car
I'm not sure
today.
that Thierry's gone out and given it all the beans all day. You know, I think it is just, this is an event which seeks out and finds a car's weak spots. That's what it's done again.
That's very poetic. Seeks out and finds the car's weak spots. I would suggest that you have two strategies in play. One protects the car's weak spots, the other exposes the car's weak spots. And I suspect that is what we've seen in Hyundai today. I genuinely do.
I'm not sure. I disagree slightly, but we should move on.
Well, let's talk very briefly then about Oliver Solberg. You know, reliability, all three Hyundais difficult. I've just seen a man in a kilt, David. It slightly distracted me.
Sure it did. Some issues with power again, I think, this morning for Solberg. But again, you know, we talked about you this morning. You are useless. We said Oliver Solberg is going to go sensibly. We can expect big time gaps. First stage. Oh my goodness!
He lost a lot of time.
He's doing what he said. He had a strategy. He wants to make it through. After last year, you know, significant issue. Didn't get to see the stages. Has to get through them this year.
Yeah. He did have a few issues out there today. A few issues with the engine, with power, with various things. But you're quite right.
But
He's
there.
battled through. He's there now. The same can't be said, sadly, for a couple of our M Sport drivers. In particular, Sebastian Loeb. Again, David, it started off in a very positive way for Sebastian Loeb this morning.
Oh, it was fantastic, wasn't it? You know, every time he gets in the car, he has a fabulous Friday morning, and he did just that again, and then came out to stage 4. He dropped a bit of time in stage 4, but not, you know, nothing.
Well,
he wasn't too stressed about it.
Have a look at the little preview video we did this morning, because you'll see the corner that Loeb lost a bit of time in. He got lost in his own dust on a corner. He lost a little bit of time in there. But that wasn't his biggest problem.
It wasn't. So after stage 4, he tried to. The car cut out, stopped, and which is very, very strange. You know, these cars just don't do that. Went to fire it up, wouldn't fire up, and then there was a small fire at the rear of the engine bay, and that was it. And then he had to use the battery to move off, which actually quite curious. It was strange to think that he actually had battery left after the stage.
Huge disappointments, clearly, for Seb. Our man George Donaldson, though, he was on the spot to catch a few words with Seb when he retired for the day.
I think it's finished because we don't have a lot of battery left. We are in EV mode, so after the finish line, I finished the stage without problem, and then after the stop control, I drove a few meters and stopped for the helmet. The engine switched off automatically. I tried to restart and it didn't restart. It was burning a little bit behind the engine. I don't know what, but
Thanks, sir.
You know, it didn't end there, David. The woes for M Sport today. I had them down as the team to beat this weekend.
Yeah.
You know, they build a strong car. We see
Yeah.
them doing very well on safaris. There was a feeling around the M Sport camp that was really positive about their chances, but it all rapidly went the wrong way today.
You're right, Colin, and people were right to expect a lot from M Sport. They do build really strong cars, but it's been an impossible day for them, really. You know, with Loeb's issue, and then Greensmith had a puncture on stage 4, steering for Breen in the last stage, some issues for Formo. It's completely unravelled for them, and it's been a tough one.
Really tough one. Real disappointments out there for M Sport today. We'll see who comes back tomorrow. Hopefully we see all of our Pumas back out tomorrow, David. But what can we say about Toyota? What a day they had. Remember, they went in to the lunchtime service 1, 2, 3 and 4. The others were falling by the wayside. What is it, David? Is it the car? Is it a strong car? Is it strategy? Why are the Toyotas coping with these difficult conditions and the other two teams aren't?
Who knows, Carl? Genuinely, I mean, what we do know is that they've all had the same preparation. They've all done this event last year. Maybe Toyota's learned more.
Yeah.
They've taken their data away from last year and just they've used it.
What was it like? What Dustin?
Equally, there's always an element of luck, isn't there? You can see that. You know, if you hit a rock in just the wrong way, it's going to take a wheel off or it's going to give you a puncture. They've had issues. Sebastian Ogier was leading this afternoon and had a puncture, which is a real shame. You know, he's now 2 minutes down, and is quite understandably despondent, but it shouldn't be, because, you know, this time last year he was 2.5 minutes down and he still won.
Yeah.
Anything can still happen, but it's Taka, we don't know exactly where he's going to end up because he was caught in some dust, so that will go to the
Yeah, he
stewards.
might get a few seconds back there.
But
He
a fabulously strong
easily
day
be in the top 3.
From Taka, second last year and right there this year as well. But
It's interesting with Taka, isn't it? Because he did seem so comfortable here last year. Took that first one and only podium of his career so far. And he's picked up where he left off. There's something about this rally and Japanese drivers.
Absolutely, but sometimes you just click with a rally. There is a way of driving this rally, and it is not flat out, and you have to drive a little bit more with your head, and maybe that's where Taka is actually coming into his own. You've got to say, you know, Toyota is doing an awesome job with Calais out front.
Oh, and, you know, let's then talk about Calais Rovanperä. First on the road. Now, first on the road on safari is maybe not quite as punishing, and in some ways, if the conditions are right, it can actually be an advantage for you. Dust, roads deteriorating quickly, but Rovanperä stuck at it. He was a little bit behind at one point, David, but another really, really strong day and an impressive performance from Rovanperä out there today, avoiding just about all the problems.
But let's not be surprised about this.
No,
you
we
know,
shouldn't.
2 rallies ago in Portugal, we said, this is a big challenge. Could he win from the front? Yes, he can. He is. Now we've got to stop thinking about him as a 21-year-old. He is the complete driver with, admittedly, not massive experience of these stages, but just a breadth of ability to do what needs to be done, essentially.
It's the way he is managing his rallies these days, David, because he's showing tremendous pace, he's showing patience, he's making very few, if any, mistakes.
Yeah.
And that is the sign of a champion in waiting. No question.
Absolutely, 100%.
No question.
And now, Elvin in second, he's not, I'll just check there, he's 22.4 behind. It's just not far. And equally, the one thing that we do need to mention, we talked about him already, Tanak is pretty close. Tanak's 3 seconds off Elvin. So it's, after the first day of Safari, to have these guys so close, it's huge. And Taka will be in there if he gets some time back from the stewards. Taka could be leading tonight.
It could be.
Who knows? But
unlikely, but it could be.
It has been, it's a Toyota day, isn't it? You look at those 4 cars without the puncture for Ogier, they've been absolutely on it all day.
Well, whoever is leading tonight, I'll tell you who's leading right now. It is Kalle Rovanperä, so let's hear from him.
At least we were now 1 stage longer than last year, so it's already better.
I'd forgotten about that, and of course a very similar situation. The briefing that you got from Michel Mouton at the start of the stage, tell us a little bit about that if you can.
Yeah, that was nothing special really. Michelle was just saying that we are going full stage, and she said that there will be some ruts, but you should manage.
Wow, Kalle Rovanperä, what can he do tomorrow? Well, obviously road position is, I think it's still going to be interesting tomorrow, David. It really is, quite dependent on the weather, and we will bring you a weather report first thing from the stages tomorrow. Big day tomorrow, 150 k's or so, 90 miles, 6 stages, sleeping
4 of those
warrior.
are long stages.
Long stages, difficult stages. George and I had a look at the stages when I was out in Africa at the start of the week, and we reckon today was the challenging day. The Sleeping Warrior was going to be the really tricky stage, David. Well, if anything, if it's more challenging than today's been, tomorrow could be complete carnage out there.
And like you say, Colin, still the scope, the weather hasn't really played its hands
yet,
has it? I mean,
no.
There's plenty. Are you going to check the weather now?
Yes, I am, David. Well, you talk, that's exactly what I'm doing.
That we're going to get some rain. I've already checked the weather.
Have you?
There is great potential for rain, and also if you are out there, do remember we are giving away Dirtfish t-shirts. So follow the Dirtfish Rally. Sorry, I've gone to social media, something I'm not terribly good at. We will be, George Donaldson, our man on the ground, is out there. He's got a bunch of t-shirts. Follow all of our social channels. We'll count you down, and you've got to find George.
You do.
Give him a big kiss.
Yeah, find George. Give him a big hug. You've got to sing a song to George as well, by the way. He loves it when you sing songs to him. Listen, folks, if you want to know a little bit more about the Sleeping Warrior stage and the Jeopardy, David, there's plenty of it. It's all contained within our preview video. That'll be out tomorrow morning. Take a look at that. If it rains tomorrow, Gus Greensmith could still win this, and he's 4 or 5 minutes off the lead, whatever he is. Anything can yet happen. Join us tomorrow. We'll still be in Goodwood. George will still be in Naivasha.
Very dusty.
The place to be for all the news, all the action, all the drama, all the Jeopardy.
Dirtfish.com.